Yo, what is up, y'all? It's Cone back here again tonight with another video. Today, I want to kind of start this video off with a couple of announcements. First one, I want to thank you all so much for all your support over the 31 consecutive days of uploading over the course of December. The support meant a lot, and it was probably the best time in my channel's entire existence in terms of your support. So thank you so very much. It means the world to me. Second of all, I'm going to be in OKC upcoming starting tomorrow. I'm flying out there, going to see a couple Thunder games on Friday and Sunday. I'm super excited about that. So I'm going to drop a vlog. I'm going to make sure to vlog all of it. Let me know if you'd rather see like a bunch of smaller vlogs or one bigger vlog. I'm thinking the smaller ones because I think that way I could fit more content in them. And I want to talk about and cover basically everything because I've never been to OKC. It's been a little bit since I've been to a Thunder game. So I want to make sure to get all of that to y'all. But y'all let me know in the comment section below. And if you happen to live in OKC, let me know if you have any recommendations for things to do, places to go, things to eat, whatever. But getting to today's video, we've just entered a new year. 2021, it's in the past. I don't want to think about it anymore. Instead, we're going to look ahead to 2022. And today I have a list of 7 things that I'm really excited about that I think could happen or are going to happen in this calendar year. So I thought it'd be a kind of fun way to look forward to the new NBA year. I'm not just talking through this season, I'm talking through the off season and the start of next season all the way up until 2023, which doesn't even sound like a real year. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll go ahead and get into the list. So, starting off, the first kind of big thing that we have coming up this year is a lot of returns for big name players. Of course, a couple come to mind. The first one is Klay Thompson, who's coming up in his return in less than 5 days now, hopefully against the Cleveland Cavaliers. He hasn't played in 2 whole years, so everyone, me included, are very excited to see him come back. I'm excited to see how he can contribute to this Warriors team, and if he looks anything like the player he's been in the past, things are going to get pretty scary for the rest of the league when you look at the Golden State Warriors. You also have Kawhi Leonard, who could maybe come back at the end of this season to help the Clippers out in a late run, and if not this year, then coming back starting next season. You've got Jamal Murray. Maybe he could come back at the end of the year and help the Nuggets out. Also on the Nuggets, you have Michael Porter Jr. You've got Colin Sexton for the Cavaliers. And tonight, Kyrie Irving is coming back and playing for the Nets tonight. So there's a lot of really big names that are making their returns, and I'm excited to see when they all come back and just excited to see those guys hoop. The league is much better when everyone is healthy, especially a bunch of stars like that. Number 2 is there's a really cool free agency class coming up. In this free agency class, we have really big name stars like Harden, Beal, Levine, Kyrie. You've got some restricted free agents that are fun in DeAndre Ayton, Miles Bridges. You've got Colin Sexton, Yusuf Nurkic, and those are just some of the names, not to mention a bunch of big role players. There are a lot of guys who can get paid. And not only that, but some of these big names could really shake up the league if they changed where they're at. James Harden, for example, if he left the Nets, or him or Kyrie, it has big implications on not just the Nets, but the entire Eastern Conference, including wherever they go. Bradley Beal, it's kind of looking like maybe the Wizards will let him walk because it kind of feels like a Kemba Walker situation in Charlotte where they really don't want to pay him a supermax. We'll see if he stays, but there's always the chance for him to leave, and wherever he goes gets a huge boost. You've got Zach LaVine. Can the Bulls keep this really fun core together? DeAndre Ayton, is he going to be kind of pissed off that they didn't pay him at the beginning of the season? Is he going to try and go somewhere else? Now, he is a restricted free agent, but that's something fun to look at. Miles Bridges has played himself into a big contract this offseason. How much will he get from the Hornets? You throw in another guy like Colin Sexton. The Cavaliers are hooping right now without him, so do they pay him? Does another team steal him away? Just a lot of really fun free agency things. It's one of the best parts of the NBA calendar year, and I'm excited to kind of see how that goes. Number 3 is a really intense and close MVP race. For a while, it looked like Steph Curry might run away with things, but now he's been kind of playing worse and worse, while the Warriors continue to play well. And now you've got guys like KD with the Nets really balling out, but now even they've kind of fallen down a little bit. So you've got Jokic, who's putting up monster numbers, but his team isn't amazing. So then you look at like Giannis, who's putting up great numbers, and the Bucks are rising up the standings. You also have DeRozan, who has been a shock to the season, where he's led the Bulls to the best seed in the Eastern Conference. He's balling out. He looks like a legitimate all-NBA first-teamer right now. He's playing incredible basketball. You've got LeBron James, who is averaging 30 points per game over the past month or so, and his scoring average continues to go up and up and up. You've got Joel Embiid, who for the Sixers is carrying them, and if they ever get Ben Simmons back or make a trade for him and the Sixers start climbing in the standings, he could enter the race, and those are just 7 names. But we're halfway through the season, and at this point, I don't think there's at all like a clear front runner. Not even, I feel like usually by this point in the season, we kind of have at least like 2 or 3 candidates that, barring some kind of major surprise, it's going to be one of those guys. Last year, it was kind of Jokic and Embiid for most of the season, maybe a little bit of some couple other guys, but for the most part, it was those 2 guys. But at this point, almost halfway through the season, there's 7, 8 guys you could make a case for to win the MVP award. So it's really fun to watch. I'm super excited to see how it finishes out, and I think it's going to be one of the craziest finishes in recent memory. At number 4, this one isn't entirely for sure, but it is definitely a possibility. LeBron could break the all-time scoring record in 2022. Now, to do it, it would take a lot. He would have to keep up his current scoring average of 28.6 points per game. But I mean, even then, he's continued to raise that. When Anthony Davis comes back, there is always the chance that it'll, lower a little bit. But he's averaging 28.6 points per game, and if he keeps that up through the end of the season without missing any games, assuming I did my math right, which there's a 50-50 chance that I did that right, he would have to average 27.5 points per game over the first 37 games of next season. There are 37 games where the Lakers played, 37 games to end off this season between the start of the year and the start of the new year. They played 37 games, so keeping that same number, there's a chance if he averaged the same points now and around 27 points per game to start next season, he could break Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's record this year in 2022, which is crazy to say because it's always been a thing like, oh, for a while it was, can LeBron get there? And now he's just exceeded all expectations, and there's a chance that he gets it done this year, which is ridiculous. So that's something to kind of keep an eye on. That's going to be a monumentous occasion when it happens. One of the longest standing NBA records. I'm excited to see it when it does happen because it's going to happen. It's just a matter of, can he get it done in this year, or will it have to wait till 2023? Number 5, we have a really fun play-in tournament kind of playing out. Over in the West right now, teams that are kind of in that play-in range, whether they're only a couple games ahead of it or they're a couple games behind it. You've got like the Lakers, the Clippers, the Mavericks, the Nuggets, the Kings, the Spurs, the Blazers, the Thunder, the Pelicans. That's like 9 teams that I could see out of the 15 in the West ending up in the play-in tournament. You could have a situation where the Lakers and Clippers, maybe Kawhi Leonard's back, and you have those 2 teams playing for a playoff spot. You could have like the Mavericks where Luka Doncic is leading them against maybe a team like the Denver Nuggets against the MVP in Nikola Jokic facing off. You could have a fun young team in like maybe the Kings or the Spurs or the Thunder trying to play off against maybe like a Damian Lillard on the Portland Trailblazers. Maybe the Pelicans. They get Zion back and they move up and they compete. The play-in tournament has been a super fun addition over these past couple seasons, and I feel like we're gearing up for a really fun one, not only out west, but when you look out east, you've got like the Celtics, the Raptors, the Wizards, the Hornets, the Knicks, and the Hawks as 6 teams that I could see making it into the play-in tournament or falling down, wherever they're at in the standings right now. Maybe even the Cleveland Cavaliers as a really fun young team. Maybe they fall down a little bit and they end up in there. However you kind of split it, I think there's going to be a ton of fun matchups for the play-in tournament. That race to make it into the playoffs is always super fun, and the play-in tournament adds a whole nother layer to it. I'm excited to see, because I think we're going to have some big stars. We had that crazy Lakers-Warriors game last season alongside the Warriors versus the Memphis Grizzlies in the play-in tournament. It was super fun, and I think we're gearing up for another pretty big one. Number 6, we have a potential, or hopefully, a Ben Simmons trade. This situation has been going on for so long. He's one of the biggest names that's actively on the trade market, and I kind of have a feeling that's going to happen. I feel like it's going to happen by this trade deadline, or at least maybe that's just me hoping that I don't have to talk about it anymore after it happens. But Ben Simmons feels like a guy obviously he's on the way out, but there have been reports that the Kings are interested, the Pacers, the Blazers, a bunch of different teams that I really think he could fit on, and I think that could have a lot of interest in him. So I think Ben Simmons gets traded. One of the bigger names in the NBA trade market at this point. I think it finally happens, whether it's in the offseason. I'm hopeful that it happens before the end of this season, but at some point in this calendar year, I'm confident that Ben Simmons will get traded. And number 7 is teams blowing it up. One of the most fun parts of the NBA is not only teams making that jump to contender, but also teams blowing up and fully resetting, setting their pieces out there. Big names that come to mind include the Pacers, the Blazers, the Kings, the Celtics, just as 4 teams that I could see making pretty big moves. The Pacers have said that they're willing to blow things up, whether they trade Sabonis, Miles Turner, Karis LeVert, Malcolm Brogdon, who can't be traded till the offseason, but once again, this is a full 2022 video. So that's a team that has a really a bunch of really good pieces that could complement a team out there. Maybe like a Miles Turner to somehow like the Warriors. That could be huge for them. You send him to like a contender out east. Maybe the Milwaukee Bucks try to get something done. Maybe the Brooklyn Nets try and make something happen. The Lakers try and get in there somewhere. There are a lot of really solid teams that could use these guys on that Pacers roster. You've got the Blazers, who I think are gearing up to make, whether it's a CJ McCollum trade, a Yusuf Nurkic trade. Like I mentioned, he's going to be free agent coming up. You've got Damian Lillard. Will they move him at some point during the year? The Kings, they've been rumored to be interested in Ben Simmons. Rumors have it that De'Aaron Fox might be on the way out at some point, or Tyrese Halliburton. The Boston Celtics, do they make a big move breaking up Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown? They're a team that kind of feels like they're in a rut right now, so what big move do they make? And of course, as usual, I'm sure more teams are going to pop up over the course of the season, over the course of the offseason, because that's just the way the NBA moves. So I'm excited to see which teams decide to hit the reset button, and then in return, which teams get those pieces and try and make those championship runs. So those are 7 things that I'm excited about for the 2022 NBA calendar year. Let me know what some things you're excited about, whether it's basketball related or just in general for 2022. I appreciate y'all watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. I will see you all later. Real one safe.